If yesterday, with the shock of Uranus, you felt the lightning breaking the chains, today you wake up with a completely different climatic sensation. The sober and grey silence of reality. We have reached December 10th. Neptune, the planet of dreams, fog, and illusions, ends its long retrograde motion and stations to move forward. This means, in practical terms, that the fog has lifted. The filter you applied over your life, over your relationships, and over your hopes disappeared overnight. The movie is over, the cinema lights turned on, and you were pushed back onto the street. What is in front of you now is no longer the colorful potential of what things could be. It is the raw and dry fact of what they really are. Many feel a deep sadness on this day. The ego loves fantasy and hates the boredom of truth. But what you are feeling is not loss, it is disillusionment. And disillusion, the act of exiting the illusion, is the only possible road to sanity. Today, false magic dies so that real life can begin. You will realize that the idol has feet of clay, that the great love is just an ordinary person full of flaws, that the miracle you are sitting and waiting for will not come. Do not close your eyes to try to go back to the dream. The dream is over. Reality might seem less shiny, but it has an advantage that fantasy will never have. It is solid, and one can only build a future on solid ground. To warn the universe that you have stopped running and are ready to deal with life exactly as it is, leave your decree of sobriety registered. Write in the comments, "I accept reality." The first symptom that Neptune has resumed direct motion is the silent death of your favorite word, potential. During the months of retrograde, your mind had cosmic permission to live in the future. You looked at a situation, a relationship, a project, a promise, and didn't see what it was. You saw what it could be. You fell in love with the movie trailer, completely ignoring that the movie itself was never filmed. You looked at someone who treated you with indifference and thought, he is just confused, but deep down, he has a heart of gold that will awaken if I love enough. You looked at a stagnant project and thought, it just needs more time. It's a diamond in the rough. This is what we call the curse of potential. It is the act of painting a layer of gold over a lead structure. It is the arrogance of the ego thinking that your vision can alter the reality of matter. But today, December 10th, Neptune stops sustaining this projection. The movie projector breaks, the screen goes white, and what remains in front of you is naked, raw, unedited reality. Today is the day you are forced to admit that potential was just a hallucination of your hope. The person is not confused. They are disinterested. And disinterest is a fact, not a phase. The project is not incubating. It is stopped because it is not viable or because you didn't put in real effort. The promise is not delayed. It was broken. This sudden clarity hurts like a paper cut, thin, stinging and annoying. It hurts because you feel foolish. You look back and ask yourself, how could I invest so much time, so much energy, and so much emotion in something that only existed in my head? Do not judge yourself. Neptune is the master of fog. He is made to seduce. But the function of today's direct motion is to give you the necessary sobriety to stop bleeding. As long as you love potential, you live in a waiting room. You live in suspension, awaiting the magic day when the caterpillar will turn into a butterfly. But what if it is just a caterpillar? What if there is never a butterfly? Today, you need to have the brutal courage to look at the caterpillar and love it as a caterpillar or let it go. There is no middle ground. The end of potential is actually an economic liberation. Think about how much vital energy you spend daily trying to fix reality so that it looks like your fantasy. You try to mold people, try to justify their mistakes, try to translate their silences. This is exhausting. It is a full-time job that pays no salary. Today, you are fired from this role. When you accept that things are what they are and not what they should be, a gigantic weight comes off your back. You no longer need to wait for the others' change. You regain your own capacity for movement. If the reality before you is unsatisfactory, you now have two real options: accept it fully or leave. The third option, staying and waiting for it to magically improve, has been removed from the table. Look around you today. Take off the rose-colored glasses. They scratched your retinas for too long. The grey of reality might seem dull at first, but it has a quality that fantasy does not have. It is solid. You can step on it. You can build on it. Stop dating ghosts. Stop investing in mirages. What you see today is all that exists, and paradoxically, that is all you need to make the right decision. After facing the end of potential in situations, Neptune's direct motion directs its demystifying ray to an even more sensitive target: the people you admire. We have reached the moment of the broken pedestal. We all have a secret altar in our minds. On that altar, we place figures we consider larger than life. It could be a romantic partner who seems flawless, a spiritual mentor who seems to have all the answers, a boss who seems infallible, or even a celebrity who represents the ideal of success. During Neptune's retrograde, you polish this pedestal daily. You ignored these people's small flaws. You justified their mistakes as eccentricities. You projected your own light onto them and fell in love with the reflection. Today, gravity starts working again. And the first law of emotional gravity is the higher the pedestal, the more violent the fall. On this December 10th, you will go through an experience of forced humanization. It happens suddenly. The guru says something colossally stupid that reveals their ignorance. The perfect partner has a petty, selfish, or banal attitude that instantly breaks the spell. The infallible leader shows fear or incompetence. You hear the sound of shattering porcelain. The god fell and became human. The ego's immediate reaction is anger. You feel betrayed. You think, how could he do this to me? I trusted him. But here is the hard truth Neptune direct brings. The person didn't betray you. They just failed to sustain the impossible fantasy you projected onto them. They were never a god. They were just a human being trying to live, and you condemned them to perfection. The fall of the pedestal is not the idol's fault, it is the devotee's fault. This moment of disillusionment is bitter. Yes, you feel a void where there used to be adoration. You feel foolish for having given so much power, so much admiration, and so much energy to someone who, in the end, bleeds just like you, makes mistakes just like you, and has the same insecurities as you. However, the broken pedestal is the absolute prerequisite for any real relationship. As long as you keep someone on a pedestal, there is no connection. There is only adoration. And adoration is distance. You cannot hug someone who is 10 meters above you. You cannot have intimacy with a statue. Statues are cold and hard. When the pedestal breaks and the person falls to the ground, on the same level as you, the dynamic changes. Now you have two real choices. The first is to leave, realizing you only loved the fantasy, not the person. If the charm is gone and nothing remains but disappointment, Neptune gives you the exit door. The second and deeper choice is to start loving the person's humanity. It is looking at their flaws, their cracks, their mediocrity and saying, "Okay, you are real, and I can deal with real." Today, the universe is returning the power you outsourced. Every time you put someone on a pedestal, you are taking a quality of yours, your wisdom, your beauty, your strength, and pasting it on the other because you are afraid to own it. Jung called this the golden shadow. The fall of the idol is the moment you are forced to take your gold back. If the master failed, it means you need to access your own wisdom. If the partner failed, it means you need to access your own self-love. Do not try to glue the shards of the statue. Leave it broken on the floor. Veneration is over. Hierarchy is over. Look at the people around you today with a horizontal gaze. No one is your savior. No one is your demon. They are just mirrors. Disillusionment hurts because it kills the child who wanted to be saved, but it gives birth to the adult who knows they are alone in command, and that is the only possible freedom. Now that potential has died and the pedestal has broken, you encounter the most physically uncomfortable moment of this Neptune direct transit. Naked, raw reality is in front of you, and it is painfully sharp. Your first instinct, trained by months or years of denial, is to run. You will feel in the next few hours a psychic phenomenon called the withdrawal from escape. We all have a drug of choice to deal with life when it gets hard. For some, it is excessive sleep, the desire to close the curtains and turn off consciousness. For others, it is infinite scrolling, the digital anesthesia that numbs the brain with cheap dopamine so you don't have to think about your real problems. For others still, it is romantic fantasy, creating imaginary scenarios in your head where you are loved, saved, and valued, while your real life remains cold and lonely. Or it could be food, alcohol, excessive work, or gossip. Anything works, as long as it takes you out of the here and now. During Neptune's retrograde, these escapes worked. They were soft. They really calmed you down. The universe allowed you to hide in the fog. But today, December 10th, your spirit's chemical tolerance has run out. The drug stopped working. You will try to escape today and realize the refuge is locked. You will grab your phone to distract yourself and, instead of relief, you will feel nauseating boredom and growing anxiety. The feed doesn't fill you. You will try to sleep to forget, but sleep will be restless or insomnia will force you to stay awake with your thoughts. You will try to fantasize about the future, but the mental image will fail, invaded by the memory of the concrete and disappointing facts you discovered in the morning. This is withdrawal. It is the ego's panic, realizing it has nowhere left to run. It is cornered in the present moment. And the present moment, without the filter of fantasy, looks grey. It looks rough. It looks unbearably ordinary. You will feel a deep irritation with the banality of life today. Is this it? You will ask yourself. Waking up, paying bills, washing dishes, dealing with difficult people? Where is the magic? Where is the movie I was promised? This irritation is the classic symptom of detoxification. You were addicted to peaks of artificial emotion. Now that you've returned to the baseline of reality, normality feels like depression. It is not depression. It is sobriety. The danger of this chapter is relapse. Faced with the discomfort of sobriety, you will feel a violent impulse to force an escape. You will want to message that toxic ex just to feel something other than this emptiness. You will want to create drama, spend money you don't have, or make an impulsive decision just to generate adrenaline and escape boredom. Do not do it. Neptune direct's instruction is sit with the boredom. Sit with the feeling of emptiness. Sit with the anguish of not having a savior. If you can withstand the urge to flee for just a few minutes, something extraordinary happens. The anxiety breaks. When you stop fighting reality and simply surrender to it, okay, my life is this now, the acute pain transforms into a solid calm. You discover that reality, however dull it may seem, compared to fantasy, has a quality the dream never had. It is stable. The concrete floor is hard, but it doesn't disappear under your feet. The withdrawal from escape is the price you pay to regain your presence. While you run, you are a ghost in your own life, watching days pass through a fogged glass. When you stop running, you break the glass. You might get cut, you might get scared, but for the first time, you are alive. Do not look for the emergency exit today. The doors are locked on purpose. Stay inside the room. Look at the walls of your life. They are what they are. And only when you stop trying to paint them with imaginary colors can you start the real renovation. Healing begins when the escape ends. After surviving the fall of idols and the withdrawal from escape, you land in the territory your ego fears most. It is a landscape without neon colors, without a dramatic soundtrack, and without special effects. It is the real world. And the color of the real world is gray. Today, December 10th, Neptune direct invites you to discover the beauty of gray. We have been culturally conditioned to believe that a good life must be a technicolor life, full of peaks of ecstasy, overwhelming passions, plot twists, and moments of constant glory. We learn to associate the gray life, routine, repetition, stability, with failure or death in life. Because of this, we spent years addicted to drama. If the relationship is calm, we create a fight to feel passion. If work is stable, we create a crisis to feel importance. Our nervous system, addicted to the cheap dopamine of illusion, interprets peace as boredom. Today, the fog of Neptune lifts, and you see your life exactly as it is, ordinary. Your partner is not a Prince Charming, nor a soap opera villain. Just a tired person who leaves the towel on the bed. Your job is not a divine mission to save the planet. It is an exchange of time for money that pays your rent. Your house is not a magazine temple. It is a place that needs sweeping. The initial shock is disappointment. Is this it? But if you can sustain the gaze and cross the superficial layer of boredom, you will find the gold hidden in the concrete. The beauty of gray lies in its solidity. Illusion is colorful, shiny, and seductive, but it is volatile. It evaporates when you try to lean on it. Gray, the concrete, the routine, the daily commitment, is solid. It holds your weight. Today, you will start to feel an unprecedented respect for things that just work. You will look at that dull relationship, which doesn't give you butterflies in your stomach, but gives you emotional safety, loyalty, and tea. When you are sick, and you will realize that this is worth more than 1,000 weekend passions. Butterflies in the stomach are often just anxiety disguised as love. Calm is real love. You will look at your repetitive routine, waking up, working, eating, sleeping, not as a prison, but as a maintenance ritual of life. There is something sacred in washing dishes. There is something dignified in paying a bill on time. These small gray actions are the bricks that build the empire of your autonomy. Neptune Direct teaches you that real magic is not in fleeing reality for a dream world, it is in injecting presence into ordinary reality. When you stop expecting life to entertain you like a movie, you regain your peace. The anxiety of missing out disappears. You discover that stability is not a lack of movement, it is a lack of chaos. And after a week of electric shocks with Uranus, the lack of chaos is the greatest luxury you can have. Do not despise the common today. The miracle is not walking on water. The miracle is walking on earth with satisfaction. Embrace boredom. Boredom is the sign that your nervous system is regulated. Boredom is the sound that there are no tigers chasing you, nor bombs exploding. It is in the silence of boredom that real and not reactive creativity can be born. Love the gray. Gray is the color of the foundation. No one builds a skyscraper on pink clouds. It is built on gray cement and iron. Today, you are concreting the floor where your real future will step. Leave the drama for the cinema. In your life, choose solid peace. Once you have accepted the gray and solid reality, a fundamental shift occurs in your power dynamic. You cease to be a hoper to become a builder. This is the crucial moment of the exchange of hope for work. During the Neptune fog, hope was your drug of choice. We were taught that hope is a sacred virtue. But today, under the harsh light of reality, you will perceive the dangerous shadow of this emotion. Passive hope is a trap. It is the act of waiting for an external factor, luck, God, time, the other, to come and solve a problem that is yours. While you wait, you do not act. While you root for the relationship to improve, you do not have the difficult conversation. While you visualize prosperity, you do not do the manual labor. Hope keeps you sitting at the station, waiting for a train that is not on schedule. Today, December 10th, the cosmic instruction is tear up the lottery ticket and pick up the shovel. You will feel a gravity shift. Energy leaves the head, dream, and descends to the hands, action. Real work is the antidote to the anxiety of illusion. When you start doing something concrete to change your situation, the need to fantasize disappears because you are too busy building reality. This exchange hurts the ego because work is humble. Hope is grandiose and glamorous. Work is dirty, slow, and repetitive. Hope says, one day I will be rich. Work says, today I will save $10 and study for an hour. Hope says, one day I will find perfect love. Work says, today I will heal my traumas so as not to be toxic. Stop looking at the sky, searching for signs. Look at your hands. They are the only tools the universe gave you to mold the clay of your life. Today's disillusionment freed you from the weight of waiting. No one is coming to save you. And that is the best news you could receive, because it means the steering wheel is free. Take the wheel. Hope is a beggar who asks. Work is a master who provides. Stop asking. Start doing. After seeing potential die, the idol fall, and the escape fail, you reach the mountaintop of this Neptune direct transit. The air here is rarefied, cold, and crystalline. There is no more fog. And the state of mind that dominates this place is radical acceptance. Many people confuse acceptance with resignation or defeat. The ego screams, if I accept this, it means I lost. It means I agree with what is bad. This is a misinterpretation. Resignation is giving up on living because reality is harsh. Radical acceptance is starting to live for real because you finally stopped denying the harshness of reality. Today you will feel the physical relief of lowering your weapons in your war against what is. Think about how much vital energy you spent in the last months or years mentally fighting reality. You fought with the fact that your partner was emotionally unavailable. You fought with the fact that your bank account was in the red. You fought with the fact that your body aged. You looked at the fact and said, "It shouldn't be like this." This resistance is the root of all your suffering. Suffering does not come from pain. It comes from the refusal to accept that pain is there. Today, Neptune hands you the key to the cell, the unconditional yes. You look at the mess of your life and say, "Yes, this is happening. I don't like it. I don't prefer it. But I recognize it is true." The moment you say this yes, the tension in your shoulders disappears. Anxiety evaporates because you stop trying to hold up a wall that has already fallen. Radical acceptance is the only real starting point for any change. You cannot navigate to a new destination if you lie about your current location on the GPS. If you are in the mud and say you are in a garden, you will never get out of the mud. Today, admit the mud. Say, "I am here." Only when you accept that the debt exists can you draft a plan to pay it. Only when you accept that love is over can grieving begin to find new love. The truth sets you free, but first it locates. You will discover that reality, however imperfect, is a safe place. It is safe because it is consistent. It doesn't change shape when you turn your back, as Neptune's illusions did. By embracing radical acceptance, you stop being a hostage of what if and become the master of what is. Life ceases to be a tragedy you try to rewrite and becomes raw material you can work with. Is the ground hard? Great. It means it can hold your weight for the jump you are going to take next. The movie is over. The cinema lights turned on and the screen went white. You were returned to the street. It might seem cold out here, without the protection of the soundtrack and special effects of your imagination, but look down. Your feet are touching something solid. The disillusionment you feel today is not a punishment. It is your letter of manumission. You were freed from the exhaustion of keeping a lie alive. You are freed from the anxiety of waiting for a miracle that never had a date to arrive. Neptune's fog dissipated and took false hope with it, but left behind the only thing that matters, the truth. Do not try to go back to sleep. The dream has nothing left to teach you. Real life, with all its grey and hardness, is the only place where construction happens. The ground is hard, but it is honest. And it is on this honest concrete that you will erect your empire brick by brick, without fear that it will disappear the next morning. To anchor your feet on firm ground, warn the universe that you have stopped running, and seal your non-negotiable commitment to the truth, leave your final decree registered. Write in the comments, "I accept reality. Welcome to the ground. Life starts now."